enjoyed enjoyed watching Clara's video making the chai. I don't think I've ever had it before. I don't know if I like cloves though, but you could mix and match stuff, couldn't you? You don't have to put all the ingredients in. But yeah, I never tried that. I quite like milk, ordinary milk. So I'd probably use that. I might give it a go sometime. I suppose there's different recipes, isn't there? But that was interesting. And Tim's, I really like Tim's video about the talk. It was moving in a way, talking about Lucy Letby's plight and how it's kind of brought people together. People together that might not otherwise have, well, in all likelihood, probably wouldn't have connected, from different countries as well, and different, yeah, it's very, it's a thing, isn't it? It's definitely happened. I've not been going on Twitter. I want to keep. I want to keep it sort of aware if there's anything happens, and I think if the thing that we all want to happen, which is referral to the Court of Appeal, or however they're going to manage this thing, whether it would be something that intervenes between that process even and just a sort of a straight quashing of convictions, which I think I'd like to see that, but we don't know how they're going to manage it at the moment. I think they're trying to figure that out. When I say they, the powers that be and all that malarkey, all those shenanigans, they're trying to figure it out. So I don't know what they're going to do. But and Amanda's video about grounding, I think that's really important. That's a good thing to do, isn't it? Grounding. And just to pause it. I just called up the channel, and Crop Circle as well. I think Amanda went to see the Crop Circle, which looks amazing. I don't know who's done that. What kind of alien beings have done it, or I don't know. There was a thing that Kaz put up about the book that a chap called Andrew Johnson's done about exploring consciousness, and then I put a link on my posts on my personal channel, which is a link to Richard D. Hall. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Richard D. Hall. I think some of you may be. He's had a lot of documentaries over the years to do with all kinds of things, whether it's 9/11, the case of Madeleine McCann, and lots of other things as well. Though he did one about these murders that happened in Oxford as well. It's been going for a long time. Things to do with UFOs, and he was talking to Andrew Johnson, who Kaz recommends his book in the short video, and he's an interesting guy as well. There are people out there just really doing some amazing research over many years and building up a body of work and everything, isn't it? But yeah, it's all. I watched Dan's video about the cortical homunculus and the reading. So that's going back a week now. Tim, about reading for Tim. So yeah, there's lots of stuff going on, but I don't know. I'm back watching like Mark Fisher lectures, which I was in that kind of space a few years back. He's Mark Fisher. He's sadly no longer with us. I suppose he was a kind of bit of a philosopher, thinker, writer, and there's quite a few lectures from him out there. He wrote a book called something Capitalism. What was that called? Mark Fisher. Mark Fisher. So he was like a lecturer as well, cultural theorist, some people are calling him. Yeah, he passed away in 2017, Felix Stowe. Interesting guy, and he took on this term called hauntology, which is from Jacques Derrida, which comes up in Derrida's book Spectres of Marx. Doesn't sound like light reading, but I haven't read it, but I dipped into tiny bits of Derrida somewhere or other along the way, and I can't remember any of it, so I might have to go back and have a look at that. But he wrote a lot about music as well, Mark Fisher did, and all kinds of things. Anyway, I put them up on posts if anybody wanted to dip in. I find him very interesting, his way of talking, what he talks about, and he talks about film and music and where we're going, as it were, as not just in the UK as a culture, but in the world, I'm just looking up his books. Capitalist Realism is one of his books. He did another one called Ghosts of My Life. Ghosts of My Life, which I think is the title of a record that I think he liked as well, a song. But he's got I think he was quite, he had difficult times and everything, and himself, and finally got too much for him, I think. And I have this strange, looking at a picture of him now, he's quite soft in a way, in the way he's speaking, but he's actually he's going into areas that are obviously bothersome and bothering him on a spiritual or mental, psychological level. Born in 1968 in Leicester. I didn't plan to start talking about him in this. I talked about the videos that I'd watched. Started watching Chris's video about baby M. And going back to what Tim was saying about things, I found that very moving, and I had a sense of the emotion, the feeling that was behind that. It felt was coming right out, the way this has kind of occurred over this period of time, and it's quite a period of time, isn't it? And I think Tim mentioned about I was thinking about something. I'm thinking about some things about it, the whole thing, and on a personal level, I don't know what this, and people have been dipping into this, like Mervyn and other people, about the kind of, and Callie as well. That was a very interesting video. And Mervyn's journey of this idea of thinking, oh well, no, it's all a mistake, or it goes through these different levels, and a journey of thinking, oh, it's this, or it's that, or they've just messed it up, but then it's the idea that I'm realizing people, or more people seem to be getting, that it's not ordinary, in the sense that it's not explicable in the ordinary way, that there's something else there, but what exactly that is. And Callie's video goes into that in great depth, about signs that to her and perhaps to other people are, or no doubt to other people are, sort of kind of reverberating off what this thing is, which is that it's not just sort of like a chain of incompetence, or it's just something it's dark. It's darker, you know, and it's but what it is, I don't know. So, in light of that, thinking personally about it, I'm not sure. I'm sort of having a rethink about what type of vibrational energy to give it at this moment, rather than 2 months ago or last week even, or certainly earlier on as well. It's changing because I think it's become, it's not hidden, you know, but it's really out there, and loads and many thousands and tens of thousands, hopefully hundreds of thousands and maybe millions across the world realize that this is something. It's a horror, and it's obscene, and there's an obscenity to it, and there's a kind of brazenness to it, exemplified by what's his face? Roberts, Chief Constable Roberts's response to Sir David Davis, the absolute brazenness of untruths that he knows that are untrue, and he must know that we know that he must know that we know that he would know that they're untrue. So it's not trying to cover itself with some kind of plausibility anymore at all. It's naked. It's kind of naked power in a way, and it's just you right up against it, and it's very brazen. It's very like, well, what are you going to do about it then? You know, or we'll just top you and just say, well, you know. All that being said, things are meant to be in train, and they're meant to be moving. You'd think or hope. But Peter Hitchens put out a short video. Peter Hitchens put out a short video just saying, you know, what's taking you all this time? You know, get a move on. What are you waiting for? Christmas or whatever? Another Christmas? Why? But why? You know, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Another video I watched was Stuart Gillam talking with Professor Richard Gill, and going over some of the echoes that are from the Lucia de Burke case, of some similar case of being persecuted and wrongly accused, and dodgy experts, and sort of hierarchies within hospitals, and people who didn't like certain people, and then that's kind of created I'm having trouble thinking and talking. Anyway, the many not compatibilities, but the many echoes and things that you can compare between Lucia de Burke and the Vici-Lepi case. Anyway, Mark Fisher. I wonder what he'd make of this, actually. I can't explain. I don't want to. His ideas are quite wide-ranging about different aspects of so-called culture and how power works and where we currently are, and the meaning of the digital world and what the internet is doing to us, how it's changing us and how it's changing time and changing and perhaps even more so younger people, changing abilities to concentrate for longer periods of time, and what it's doing to the sense of oneself in the world vis-a-vis others, etc., etc. So I'd like to think, I would like to think he's no longer with us, and he left, as it were, before what happened in 2019, 2020, which was a big jump, which I'm just thinking now wonder what he would have thought about that. Anyway, that's it. That's me. That's done. Take care. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, depending on wherever anyone is. Bye.